Hey, what's up everybody? Here, Lawler, your inside source for all things Rocket League. We have finally wrapped up the closed qualifiers for the European Regional 1 event for the winter split. So we're going to be talking about who the results are for and in favor of, as well as what teams are going to be joining us this weekend. Don't forget as well, we also have the grid starting on Thursday. So this video will be coming out on Wednesday. The day after that, we will also have the grid with North America starting for day one. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check out my video from yesterday. But before we get into that, as always, if you guys enjoy the content, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, as well as making sure to hit subscribe and turning on notifications. And let's get straight into it. So if you didn't see it yesterday, I ended up talking about the open qualifiers and the closed qualifiers and all the teams that made it through. Obviously, Triple Trouble, Ricks, all that kind of stuff. But that's not going to be the focus for today. I'm going to be focusing on, more importantly, the teams that ended up making it in the last chance bracket. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom where it shows the last chance bracket, they ended up doing this in a little bit different scenario. So what they ended up doing is they ended up taking the high seeds that were from the lower bracket yesterday. So these teams, this one, Stealth, Team Singularity, Redemption, Little Women's, great name still. And then they took all of those and gave them a bye. So you see that in upper round 2. Those 4 teams had a bye. They then took the other teams from the lower half, the ones that are still alive in the last chance bracket, and put those against each other based upon seeding. So this is still a double elimination bracket in the way that it applies, but you are getting a bye if you qualified as the lower team from the upper bracket, which is a really weird way to phrase that. Hopefully the visual will make that make sense. So as we look at the lower last chance bracket, the final of it, there's multiple rounds because it is a double elimination, technically a triple elimination. And the reason why is because these teams have yet to lose. And the only time you really see it come into effect is in the Little Women's part when they lose to Queso. And I'll get into the specifics of each match here in a sec. So after they drop, they lower down here. They lose again, and then they drop down again. So there is a double elimination / triple elimination in theory. It's kind of weird if you're just looking at it for the first time, so stick with me. Up first was all the round 1s in the uppers, as it shows upper round 1. You had Wolves versus Sauce. Sauce actually ended up winning 3-2, which was a pretty big deal. Wolves is supposed to be the new signed team that is supposed to make some moves, which, as you can see highlighted, they do in the future, but that's jumping ahead. Queso of Enigma was expected. Drifters is a team that's kind of that in between. They do some good things here and there, and Last Resort has shown surprising results in other regional events, but in this one, obviously, they do end up falling short. And then S2V, You Choose, is the team that ended up knocking out Swag, so they continue on their path of destruction as they ruin everybody's chances, primarily Cooksters and Flakes, and that makes me big sad. No offense to Resi or Ease, but it's Cookster, man. Like, what do you want me to say? We then get into upper round 2, and it's Singularity versus Sauce. Singularity qualifies. Scriptkill has been feeling pretty confident with that new team. Now they've taken Godsmill's spot again. So they end up qualifying, so they will be in the first regional. Little Women's over Queso. Even though their name's great, Queso is the better team, so they end up making it 3-0, clean sweep. They qualify. Redemption over Drifters. You guys should know Redemption as well. If you do not, the nice thing you can do is you can scroll up to the top. It has all the teams. You just got to highlight it, and it makes it really easy. If you can't find it, better to just click Show All. And then if you look at Redemption, which is in the R's, wherever it may be, if I can do this, this is getting terrible. There we go. Cash, Mike Boy, and Ocelon. All 3 players that played on RLCS teams coming together, hence the name Redemption. So they end up winning. They end up qualifying as expected. Stealth, one of your high seeds, ends up qualifying as well. Unfortunately for You Choose, they end up dropping down, but again, still multiple eliminations to go through. So we have our 4 qualified. These are now the high seeds if they ended up dropping and get bumped down. So You Choose versus Wolf, because Wolf loses their first round matchup, even though they're the high seed. They end up winning there. Drifters versus Enigma. Drifters wins again, which is 2 pretty big. I wouldn't even call them like upsets because they are the high seed in this regard, but they do end up winning over that, going up against Wolves. And then you've got Last Resort and Little Women's. I still think that name is ridiculous to say, and I don't think I'll ever get used to it, but Last Resort does show that they could do it on their last leg. So this is where the bracket gets confusing. If you guys haven't seen this, it is a triple elimination bracket. So again, if you lose, so in this case, You Choose ends up making it to the upper round. They end up dropping. They lose again. They now go down to the lower round as that low seed. And it continues to do that for every single team. And the reason why they do this is instead of, I guess, of like a round robin or like a Swiss style, like usually they would do like groups with double elimination there to find the top 2. or they would do like a round robin and take all the teams play each other once, and then whoever is the best out of that will end up progressing through. For some reason they do it this way, and I mean, Winter Split is talking about how it's supposed to be double elimination, but for this being qualifiers for the regionals is kind of weird. I don't know if they're going to continue to do this for the future regionals or not. I don't know. But it is kind of confusing, so I can totally understand why I've gotten so many questions about it and why I have to cover it again today. So I just think it's a triple elimination bracket. That's the best way to explain it. The only thing that's super confusing about triple elimination brackets, and I think Liquipedia actually does a pretty good job of this now, after talking to their support staff, is that they actually will show like where the seeds go. So like this match, it'll tell you that they drop down here or wherever they may be. So I think that part's at least nice, so they do try to inform you of that. But the difference here is if you lose here, you end up becoming the high seed. If you lose here, then you end up becoming the low seed. So Last Resort ends up winning, as I was mentioning. Sauce Squad, again, a big upset over S2V. Unfortunate for S2V that they have the troubles that they do, and then they end up progressing forward. Last Resort doesn't look like they're having the greatest of days. Sauce Squad ends up qualifying, so congrats to them. So we have 6 of our 8 so far. Then take those teams, drop down to the lower yet again. We get into the lower round 1 and 2. Women's, unfortunately, can't do it against S2V. S2V finally realizes that they have no more extra lives, and they bounce back, get into round 2. You Choose, the team that knocked out Swag, ends up beating Enigma, and unfortunately for Last Resort, they weren't able to hold out, and You Choose ends up making it through. So, I mean, you look at You Choose path to get in here. They beat Swag and Cookser and Flakes. They end up playing S2V, beat them. That's another upset. And then they go up against Stealth, who had a pretty good day the first day. Lose to that. They then drop down. They play Wolves. They're like, crap, this sucks. And normally this is where they'd be eliminated. They drop down again and then go on a win streak and only drop 1 game out of 6 with a sweep over Last Resort to qualify. So that's pretty big. As for Drifters, I talked about how they were kind of that middle of the line a while ago. This is a good game for them. I think that S2V should have won this. I don't think there's any reason for them to really lose it. But if you're looking at Drifters and that lineup, if you guys are unaware, and I definitely have to refresh my own memory on it. They're under the Drifters, but you should recognize probably 2 names here. Rizwal, you should recognize, but the big name you should recognize from the Drifters is Nachito. He got the boot from Endpoint and then tried a bunch of different teams. Primarily, he was most recently on Name Seekers, just like what it feels like everybody else was too, between Taz and everybody else. But he has joined up with Rizwal, who I don't know swooping off the top of my head if I'm being completely honest, but Nachito obviously has shown that he can be a top-level player, so it's not really surprising that whoever he decides to team up with has a chance, but the fact that they're doing it through the lower is kind of tough, but they are doing it against other teams. Like Last Resort is a team that has made regionals multiple times, so I think we are going to see some new faces, which is always exciting, getting different teams throughout the different splits. I think the biggest one I would be paying attention to, though, is Stealth 7. I know Nagflow, but I don't know. I do know a Chronic. I don't know Rob myself, but again, I think that you're starting to see that parity increase even more so, and the fact that some of these guys in open qualifiers get that chance. The triple elimination, I think, was really interesting overall, but whether that'll make a difference or not, I don't know. With that said, let's take a peek at the teams that have officially qualified then. So this is for Regional 1. This will be this weekend, as it shows, the 12th to the 15th. And the reason why it's 12th to the 15th is because they're also detailing the closed qualifiers, which we just wrapped up with on those days. So we will have now the actual qualifying matches. The nice thing is this is super easy to understand as comparison. It is double elimination. That's it. You lose twice, you go home, you win, you keep playing. Super simple, really easy to understand. The only thing people may not know about is the way that they are doing the matches. They're all best of 5s up until losers round 4, so up until here, and then up until quarterfinals, which is here. So semifinals, winners finals, losers quarters and on will all be best of 7s, which makes sense. These are the kind of do or die matches. This is when you're going to get your high level teams, which is kind of interesting too, because last time we had obviously 2 brackets that we followed and then they came together. But seeing that we're going to have the chance for the lower bracket, and this is the thing I've been talking about for quite a bit, is Psyonix going to have to adjust the format, because lower bracket runs previously for World Championships were super momentum based, where we saw numerous times where lower bracket teams were playing a bunch of matches. I think like the Cloud9 round, where they played like the most possible matches, I think that they played 35 or 28 over the course of that time, and they just started gaining that momentum and then smacked Dignitas. Obviously the first one that we all saw was Flipside Tactics from the lower bracket after they lost in the uppers. So again, I think lower bracket runs are something to definitely put in consideration. A lot of old school guys, I know F. and myself talked about this during WSOE, about how the old school guys, myself, we really do enjoy a single elimination bracket. If you guys want me to go into detail as to why I prefer that system, I can, but I don't think it's all that important. So again, very straightforward. A lot of teams that you should recognize, primarily all the ones probably like Giants and up. Fadeaway obviously with Yukio now, but Tryhard coming from Germany, been a very exciting team to watch from what I've heard. I've got my eyes primarily on Stealth just because they keep doing things that surprise me. Wolf, obviously, the recent pickup as well. Oli coming over from Barrage. So there's a lot of parity here. I think there's a lot of exciting teams. I want to see if Oxygen is still going to be plagued by their mentality and can't get past the first rounds. Now that's a different format. And I think that's what I'm excited. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have ideas of how you think we're going to see a difference in how teams perform now that it is double elimination as compared to Swiss style multiple times in a day. I'm interested to hear because I think it will make a difference. Who it's going to affect more or not, let me know what you guys think. That is going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, again, all the details found on Liquipedia. Links will be in the description down below. But that is going to wrap it up for me. If you guys enjoy it, thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. Trying to hit 30K by the end of the year, which I greatly appreciate the support. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If you guys do not know, you can check it on my Twitter, or you can join us, twitch.tv/Lawler, link in the description down below as well. I will be doing a $10,000 Among Us tournament. For any of you who have watched Beyond the Summit and really enjoy Mafia, version 1 is putting on a $10,000 tournament for Among Us, which is very similar to Mafia. And I'll be playing in that with like Trainwrecks and some other really big name streamers that totally outclass me. So should be a lot of fun. If you guys want to come tune in, I would greatly appreciate the support, but maybe we can win some money. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.